Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We're here for our Prowess Live. I'm super excited about today's topic. As you guys know, my favorite things to talk about are our mindset, balance, all of that. But then also, truth is, I love all of that and talking about AI. But today we're going to focus on the mindset stuff. So I'm very excited to dive into that. If we haven't met, I'm Leah Steinkirk, OBM turned COO here at Prowess Project. And as we typically do to kick things off, we're going to throw our starter question and you can answer that in the chat. And today's starter question is, what is one thing in your business that you're not doing, but you know you really should? So that one thing that you just don't have time to do, it keeps getting pushed down on the task list. What is that one thing that you know you should be doing for yourself and your business, but you're just not getting to? Okay, and as you guys are doing that, okay. As you guys are doing all of that, we will start chatting. Like I said, I'm Leah Steinkirk with Prowess Project. And what we do is help women that are pivoting into their careers, want to use their patchwork quilt-like backgrounds and become online business managers. We're helping them upskill, define their business, and then matching them up with their dream clients based on their skills and EQ. So as we get started today, like I said, I'm really excited about our guest today. She is a business and mindset coach and going to share a ton of value with you guys. So welcome, Natalie Hankins.
Hankins, actually.
Hankins, sorry.
Okay.
I knew I was going to do that.
No problem. It's a common mistake. So,
well, would you like to introduce yourself? Just tell us how you got to where you are today.
Yes. So I am Natalie Hankins, business and mindset coach. So my story is I actually started out as a general life coach. I have two adult children with special needs, and when they basically aged out of the school system, I began to wonder, like, how am I going to have the time and energy to keep this up for the next 20 years? Because I had spent 20 years dedicated to helping them reach their full potential. And, and by that point, it was like, I really came to realize I was pouring everything into them and not really pouring into myself. Oh. Right. And so thankfully, that's when I discovered one of Tony Robbins' coaching institutes and became certified as a life coach. And, he has a 6 human needs strategy where if we're not fulfilled in our lives, then more than likely one or more of our 6 essential human needs are not being met. And so I had that love and connection because I actually homeschooled my son who has autism, and his verbal IQ came up by 29 points. And now I just get to live in the miracle of having that connection and conversation with him. But I was still missing that significance, growth, and contribution that my coaching career provides. And then in 2021, I was certified as a mindset coach through the Life Coach School. And that's when I started really focusing more on the business coaching, because if we want better results in our businesses, we really have to be focused on more empowering thoughts, because our thoughts create our results. And then, yeah, absolutely. Right. And then if we want more revenue in our businesses, what we need to do is we need to connect with more people, get more visible with our value and make more offers to help. And none of that is comfortable for most of my clients. So I just love helping women in business, make more income and impact, and, through living my purpose and helping them live their purpose through their lives and businesses.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this kind of work. Both the work that you did as a mom and caregiver, but also this and putting a name to it. And I think there's such power from even hearing that it's okay to think like this and want both the purpose in your business, but also the revenue, right? Like that's
yes.
Yes.
Yes. And I just had a conversation about this with another purpose-driven coach this morning. And it's like, so I think all of us are purpose-driven as coaches, right? That's why we become coaches. But I have come to realize it can't just be a hobby. As much as we want to give and want to coach because it's our purpose, we really need to we need to have profitable businesses if it's going to be sustainable. Otherwise, we're just going to burn out. So that's why, the business side is important too. And it's doing all those things. I love that question, right? That you gave everyone this morning. It's like, we've got to do the thing that we know is going to move our business forward. And that's also where I come in as a mindset coach to help my clients really focus on those high impact money making activities that will move your business forward.
Oh, I love that. And for our audience, we have a lot of people that are supporting those coaches, right? And so they feel, what I love about a lot of the women that we work with here is I get to hear their goals and the values that they want to instill in their business. And a lot of it is sometimes helping women and helping amplify a voice and helping someone create that space to go be creative, because they do actually love the operations, right? So they're in their zone of genius. They're helping someone make a bigger impact. But what that person still needs to build their own business, right? As OBMs, we still have to do it. So are there any tips that you give people for that mindset to help kind of hold yourself accountable, or maybe just release the fact that it's make it okay to focus on your revenue? It's not selfish.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, we shouldn't feel guilty about wanting to make a profit. Because as I said, if 'cause even with, our passion for doing what we do, it's like, we still need to be profitable, right? Otherwise we're going to burn out. And so, yeah, mindset has everything to do with everything. Because the way that the mindset model works is that our thoughts create our feelings motivate our actions, and our actions give us our results ultimately. So our thoughts are creating our results. And because when we're feeling negative, we're not taking that productive action, and we're not showing up with confidence. And, our confidence comes from what we tell ourselves. And so it is so important to focus on what you want, right? Not on what you don't want, because it's only those positive thoughts that are going to move us forward.
Oh, I love that. Can you say a little bit more for the people that are like, but how do I stop them? How do I get the mean girl out of my head, or that inner critic? How do you stop it?
Yeah, it is so important to get the mean girl out of your head. I coach all the time on this. Yeah, some of my clients, they're just used to the mean girl. And I'm thinking of one in particular. Some of it does come from the way that we were raised, right? And I do have a strategy for rewriting the story, because we don't change the facts of what actually has happened to us, but we can change the story that we're telling ourselves, right? To make it a more empowering story. And just be aware, if you're beating up on yourself, just know that you are dragging yourself down, right? That is not, we think we're going to beat up on ourselves so that we can motivate ourselves to do better, right? That's not how it works, right? So my best advice would be, first of all, really be aware of what you're thinking, and just know that your thoughts are creating your results. So if you don't want to create that result, it's time to, focus on the positive, right? And you can, if it's hard for you to focus on the positive, you can at least get to neutral, right? So, and that's what I help my clients do, for sure. Yeah.
I love that. And I think this work is, again, thank you for doing this kind of work, because I just think it's so important. And especially, I remind my teenagers that if you have that thing that's causing anxiety in the future, and you're sitting here running through all the things that can go wrong, you're not investing the what could go right, right? So you're saying, that confidence piece is so important. Are there other ways that you think that you could share with this audience on, sometimes it's just even evaluating our own confidence? We tell ourselves that we're not good at things. We tell ourselves that we have to be an expert or have 17 certifications that say we can do something before we offer that in our business. Are there other suggestions you have around that?
Absolutely. So, yeah. So the way that the brain works is that our brains look for evidence of whatever we believe. So if you're telling yourself you're not good enough, your brain is looking for evidence that you're not good enough.
Oh, wow.
So I will give you an example, okay? And then I'll give you some practical tips. But so I had a client who she was in network marketing, and she had scheduled a call with this person, and this person did not show up. And so she was telling herself that she wasn't worthy. So when she was telling herself that she wasn't worthy, then she was feeling inadequate. And when she was inadequate, she was beating up on herself. And what she wasn't doing is she wasn't following up with other potential clients and scheduling more calls, right? And our thoughts create our results. So it's not that she wasn't worthy, because we're all 100% worthy just because we are human beings on this planet. But she wasn't doing what she needed to do in her business, right? So it's like that thought, I'm not doing enough. It's she wasn't doing enough for her business, right? To create the income that she wanted. So we coached on that, and you really need to break out of whatever that thought is. And like I said, you don't have to go to the 180, because we can't always believe that. It needs to be something that you also believe, the empowering thought that you want to focus on instead. So that's where I come in to help my clients. And so, we talked about how I helped her to understand and see it's not that she wasn't worthy. Like, we don't know why this person didn't show up, right? Like, she had actually followed up with the person, and so, like, several times. So we just need to have a clear mind and not make it mean anything about our self-worth, for sure, because that's when everything goes downhill, right? We don't want to be in that negative thought loop. And so what you can do in that situation is just, again, like, have a neutral and clear mind about it, and just tell yourself, it's not that I'm not worthy. It's just, I don't know why this person didn't show up to the call, but just still stay focused on your goal of whatever that is. And then, when you focus on what you want, that's a positive, right? With, having that belief that you can do it, and just move forward from there. And also, I would suggest, like, for anyone who's telling themselves, I'm not worthy, like, look at your testimonials. And, like, I mean, you can review those every day if you need to, right? Or, like, I used to, when I first became a business coach, I had a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? Because my niche evolved from life coach to, special needs parent coach to confidence coach to business coach. And so at first it's like, well, am I really a business coach? And so after each coaching call, I actually made a note in my phone, because that's how I journal quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and of how amazing of a business coach I am, just as a reminder, because we've got to drive those positive thoughts.
Oh,
So that's what you do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That is so important. I do think that write it down, whether it's, I'm a big fan of post-it notes. It's not
Yeah.
bragging, right? Like, we need this positive reinforcement, especially like if you're doing online work, right? We're kind of in our own little bubbles, and it's real easy to get into our head because we're not talking to anybody else necessarily, right? We could spend
Yes.
all day just looking at the computer. So having those post-it notes, or like you saying, the testimonials front and center. I have a birthday card that I keep right on my desk because it was a positive message. I'm like, some days I just need to read that over and over again. I love all of that. And what I'm hearing you say too is a little bit about that balance, right? We have to look at both sides of this, right? The focusing on the revenue generation, but also what do we need?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it sounds like in your life, you've had a lot of experience with finding balance.
Oh, yeah. So that is another story in itself. So, during the pandemic, I think all of us moms had a lot to balance, right? Like, and
Absolutely.
having the two kids with special needs, my daughter requires hands-on assistance. So we decided to protect her. We would, keep her at home without any outside help until she got the vaccine. And I had to figure out, like, how am I going to make time for my kids, my business, my health goals, and keep my sanity all at once, right? And so I came up with a time prioritization system, because what I have come to realize is that, time is limited on this planet. We don't have time to do all the things, but we can make time for what's most important in our lives and businesses. And so that it's just a matter of prioritizing and scheduling and blocking out time and making time for everything that's important in our lives and businesses. If we don't make time for it, if we don't schedule it, the days will, life happens all the time, right? So we've got to prioritize what's most important.
Yes, yes. And thank you. I like the words for life and business, right? It's both
Yes.
sides of it, and that we do
Yes.
need to recognize, like you were saying, you want to show up as the person, the mom, the caregiver that you are, but then we also want to show up in our businesses and that's okay, right? Like I think a lot of times, and I'm going to generalize this, that women, we kind of will put ourselves in the back seat, right? And so we'll focus on everyone else's stuff and not take a look at what do we need to do to take care of ourselves in order to be present for all of this.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
it is so important because, like, in my life story that I shared, at the beginning of this conversation, like, if we don't, this is so overused analogy, but it's so true. If we don't put the oxygen mask on ourselves first, we cannot put the oxygen mask on anyone else, right? We're going to pass out. So we really have to, take care of ourselves first, but in order to take care of others, in order to have the energy,
yes.
and when I became a life coach, what I tell people is, yes, now I have 2 full-time jobs because the kids are still at home, and multiple doctor appointments a week, but I have twice the energy because I'm living my purpose.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I feel like you're a testament to that, because when we do find that thing that lights us up, we have the energy for all of it. So
Yes.
all
Yes.
of you OBMs, make sure you're writing that down. But what I'm curious about, and all of you, is that, there's been times in my life where especially with being a parent, and I think of this other thing I want to do. Maybe it's something I want to go learn to bring into my OBM business, or something that I want to take on, and I just feel stuck. Like I'm like, I don't know if I have the energy. How
Yeah.
did you how did you find your way through that? Or is it just
Yeah.
something that's a natural part of it and you work through it?
No, none of this was natural. Yeah, I have worked through it over the years, right, of being in business. And the mindset coaching is incredible because we literally are creating our results with our thoughts in every area. And so the more that you're able to manage your mind, the better you're able to manage your time and your whole life. And so that's what really helps me and gives me the energy too. Because again, it's about, like, when I work with my clients, they always come to me with that automatic negative thought, because we have 80% automatic negative thoughts according to the National Science Foundation.
Wow.
So we all have limiting beliefs, negative thoughts that are slowing us down, bringing us down, right? And so we have to look at those first. And, like, we can't put our heads in the sand, right? The first step is an awareness of, what the reality that we're creating and what thought is creating that. So we'll take a look at that first. And then I will help my clients find that more empowering thought that they also believe. That is really the key, because we're going to turn that into an affirmation. And I find that you can't really just take any affirmation and just use that, because that could be like you're lying to yourself, and that won't work, right? And so usually I have to help my clients find the more empowering thought. It's great when it comes from them, and because I'm always typing out notes as we're talking, and sometimes I can capture it. and so that's great when that happens too. So yeah, it's all about redirecting your mind to the positive.
Oh, that absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I lately have like, yes, the thoughts, but also what I'm consuming, right? So getting
Mhm.
out anything, if scrolling sometimes doesn't help, right? Even though there's positive things in my
Oh,
feed, it doesn't help sometimes. And so
yeah.
being very diligent about it, I think is so important.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and how do you balance the doing all of this for yourself, but then also the energy it takes to help support your clients?
Yeah, I because I'm living my purpose, this is what fuels me.
Okay.
And I do recommend setting boundaries. I have to set boundaries for myself as well. I just set a boundary yesterday, a new boundary where I used to have an evening time to talk to my clients. And then I've recently decided, you know what? Evenings, I really need that time to relax. And, so I just recently said no more evening times. Like, so it's like I like to use time as boundaries. So I like to have set working hours and just stay within that. And then definitely times to relax. You have to have that balance because if you're just working 24/7, you're going to burn out. And it's, like one of my coaches helped me realize like years ago that without me, there's no business. So, you really taking care of yourself is not optional if you want,
Mm-hmm.
a thriving business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I want to circle back a little bit because we started opening this up about being focused on the revenue and that being okay. Is there any advice you would have for the people that, and me included, sometimes it feels selfish to say, I want to make more money. Right? We want to put a lot of good into the world. We're saying we want to make an impact, but at the same time, every business has to have revenue in order to keep going. Is there
Absolutely.
any mindset shifts there that you would recommend or questions people can ask themselves to help move through it?
Okay. Well, let me just ask you since
Sure.
if you don't mind,
Not at
what is
all.
your specific hesitation on, like, what is your thought about what makes you hesitate when it comes to, wanting more money? Why is that wrong to you?
My background comes from like I started in human services and counseling and worked a lot of nonprofits. And
Mhm.
I think I got absorbed in the message that I should be caring and giving and constantly working for someone else. And there is your reward in the, I don't know how to put that into, but like that was what it
Yeah.
was supposed to be. And to say I want to go make money felt like, oh, but then you're not caring and helping these people because you just said you wanted to make money.
Okay. So there it is. There's the thought. When you're telling yourself you're not caring and helping people just because you're asking for money, that's the see because what feeling does that create in you when you think to yourself, I'm not caring and helping people?
I feel a little lost because that was always what I
Yeah.
said my purpose was. Again, I started out in that
Yeah.
world of nonprofits.
So here's a question you can ask yourself. This is a good one for all the viewers and listeners. You can ask yourself, is that thought really true? Is it true that you're not caring and helping for people just because you're also asking for money?
No, it's not true.
Right. And here's another question you can ask yourself. Is this thought serving me? Is that thought serving you? Like I'm not
No.
really caring. So it's not even true, number one. And it's definitely not serving you. Because as we talked about, you're not going to have the energy. If you're feeling lost, you're not going to have the energy to do what it takes to have a profitable business because it is work. Let's not kid around, right? It's work to become an entrepreneur. And you
Hmm.
have to break, and it's not comfortable, like I talked about at the beginning of the call, right? And it is an investment of time, energy, and effort, and it's totally fair that you are being paid for that.
Absolutely.
If not, it's like you should be just running a nonprofit or a charity.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. So that doesn't pay the bills. So
It doesn't pay the bills, and it's not serving you or anyone else to think that thought, right?
right. Well, because then resentment creeps in. I'll be real
Yeah.
honest.
And imagine serving your clients with resentment. That doesn't work either.
No, no, I want to be in the place where you were saying, like, this lights me up, right? So I do think it is putting
Yeah.
the words to it and naming it.
Yeah. And so what could you think instead of like, I'm not really caring because I'm asking for money? Like, what could you think instead of that? What could you redirect your mind to?
Um, well, the one that comes, I'll just say this is the one that I found helpful is I want to be this example for my daughter that I can do both.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that one, that doesn't mean that I've overcome my own belief,
That's
but at
okay.
least that one is one step closer. That if I am
Yes.
emulating this and I'm showing you can do both, then hopefully I am not repeating this pattern with my child.
Yes. Yes. So that is great. And I mean, that's where you can start, right? Because, like I said, a lot of times we can't go to the 180, right? But I would also, so I love the latter thought. We use those a lot, right? So just go to any positive thought that you can go to, right? But also acknowledging, because like we said at the beginning, it's not even true that you're not caring for people just because you're charging money. Isn't it true that you're caring for people through what you do, and you're living your purpose, and you're making your impact through what you do? And it's absolutely fair that they give you that money to reflect the value that you are sharing.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We're about at time. Is there anything else that you would want to leave this group with that they can implement?
Oh goodness. Well, actually, I would like to share. I have a free course, and
Okay.
it's called 5K in 30 days. And so I give you the exact strategy and mindset of how I created my first 5K in just 30 days after I was certified as a mindset coach. Because as we've talked about today, it takes both strategy and mindset to reach our business goals. So if they're interested in learning like next steps for creating 5K in 30 days, I will, you can register at nataliehankins.com, and I will send you my 15-minute free course on exactly how I did that.
Fabulous. Thank you for that. I think that's going to be, I think everyone here today hears the value and having like a mindset and business coach help them get through their goals and how making an investment like this is only going to help you in the long run. So thank you for all the wisdom that you've shared today.
Oh, absolutely. And I also offer a complimentary business breakthrough session where we'll look at any bottlenecks in your business, including any any missing strategy, any mindset blocks, right? And how you can break through those so that you can achieve your business goals while having that balance. And we'll even create a plan of the steps of how to get there.
Fantastic. And Natalie just dropped those links into the chat, and we'll make sure those are in the show notes as well. Thank you so much today, Natalie, for joining us. And we will be taking a break next week for the holidays, but we will be back again in 2 weeks with Prowess Goes Live.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, we'll see you soon.